Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison, and I want to welcome you to day 231 of Humanity Rising. We meet today in the aftermath yesterday of the verdict in the trial of Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd, who was killed by Derek Chauvin last May 25th. When Derek Chauvin placed his knee on George Floyd's neck for a full 9 minutes and 24 seconds. 11 months later, a jury of 12 people, 7 of whom were under 30 years old, reached the verdict that he was guilty of all 3 counts. And the world, I think, sighed a collective expression of relief that justice had been done in this extraordinary case that has galvanized the attention of the world since last May 25th. One of the most extraordinary, iconic moments of modern times, actually, coming right out of the depths of the pandemic that arrested the world just like the pandemic arrested the world and challenged us with systemic racism in many of the same ways that the COVID virus has challenged us around public health and well-being. But it's worth noting that even as the verdict was being read almost simultaneously with justice being delivered in Minneapolis, a white police officer in Columbus, Ohio, not very far away, shot and killed a 15-year-old Black girl who, like George Floyd, was unarmed, completely defenseless, and yet she was shot. So as we begin our session today, we want to rejoice at justice being delivered, and we also want to mourn at the killing of just another Black person in America. Ajay, you may want to mute your screen. In that spirit of love and compassion, let us pause for a moment and do what we always do each day, and that is take a minute. Center yourself in your body. Take a few deep breaths. Place your attention on your heart. Close your eyes if you can and place your attention on your heart. Listen to your heartbeat for just a minute in a spirit of deep gratitude and thanksgiving. You're alive. All of us are alive at this extraordinary moment in the human journey. Thank you, everyone. Now, with an open heart and a heart full of gratitude for each and every one of you who are joining our session today, I want to note that this is the day before Earth Day. This is a time each year for the last 50 years since I believe it was 1978 when we celebrated the first Earth Day on April 22nd. At the time, it was a radical notion that we would celebrate Earth Day, but Dennis Hayes and others, environmentalists, felt that this was an important symbolic moment for the world to come together and celebrate the most obvious fact in the world, that as human beings, we inhabit a planet that we call Earth. And each
Hello,
year
everyone.
We have been celebrating Earth Day. So we're going to start a day early on the 21st by welcoming Pramod Parajuli, who is the founder of the Annapurna Pluriversities. As many of you know, he's convened a number of sessions, and today he's producing an extravaganza of about a dozen activists from South Asia and South America and North America and various parts of the world to come together in a celebration of both the diversity of the human experience and celebration of the earth, but also the common purpose of human beings coming together in all our diversity to honor, to regenerate the global environment at a very critical moment in history where we're running out of time to rejuvenate the most precious asset we have, and that is our own planet. So Pramod, welcome back to Humanity Rising, and I turn the program over to you.
Thank you, Jim. You are always an inspiration. Also, Richard, Matt, and all of you behind the Humanity Rising, making it possible for us to share and be visible with each other. And you are a big connector, and I really want to salute you. Annapurna Pluriversity is a contribution of my little being that grew up in the Himalayan foothills. And then one day when I was 15, about around 5 years old, I felt Mother Annapurna mountain, Devi, the goddess, overtaking me. I was possessed, or you could call it Akashic experience. And I left Nepal, but Annapurna did not leave me. And that today it is a manifestation. This is my offering, but it is everybody's. I am just a vehicle to bring this message called Annapurna abundance, regenerative abundance. And it feels like with the COVID and the climate, this is perfect timing for us to engage in this exploration of what can be done. And today, we have assembled actually 16, 17 more people and hundreds of thousands of people behind each of these people. And it is self-explanatory, as we will enjoy the sounds and the images and the cultures and every expressions that I will not take time to introduce anybody because it is such they will introduce themselves, their work will introduce themselves. So we have two sections today. One is more the Earth Day invocation from different cultures, different modalities. And then after that, we'll go into some formal presentations, short of whatever formal is, but all have the same theme, nature and culture. Are they separate? Are they one? Should we be thinking nature cultures without a hyphen or culture natures? And this is one of the most magical, mystical, mysterious inquiry that Annapurna Pluriversity will be doing. And we're starting that today with first Professor Brian Rice, who is a Mohawk from northern New York, where I have worked several years during the 1990s, and he and I met there, and we have continued. So we'll start with him, then we'll go to Catherine from the Peruvian Andes, then Felipe Medina from Colombia, then Shivani from Indian Himalayas, then Seth, a photographer, of the lover of mountains, and Nancy, a yoga teacher. So let's start with you, Professor Brian Rice.
Yeah, I've decided I'm going to keep my video off while I speak because I want you to hear me, and I find it distracting. Just looking at myself, you know, it's kind of strange to because I can only see me kind of in its little blocks. But Sego Brian, Sego Skanagoga, Brian Ujits. It means are you still living in peace? You know, it's a greeting that we have. The ga at the end is always a question, because if we're not living in peace, then maybe we're living in not peace, but maybe violence. So after the great union of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, we came to a consensus that we could live together in peace without violence, and that happened a long time ago. And so we greet each other in that way. Brian Ujits, my name is Brian, and I am Mohawk descent, as Pramad said, but also I have Scandinavian as well, from the northern parts of Finland, and a little bit of Norwegian in there as well. So I'm going to say Hohondagari Wadegwa, which is the words that come before all else. Ganjokwa se wada hutsiotaga negari weza negadi Hohondagari Wadegwa ankwa neho hetsto. Everyone, listen for a short while as we pass the words that come before all other matters. And when we say that Hohondagari Wadegwa, we're talking about our first greeting before any conference, before any gathering begins, because we have to give thanks to our creation for giving us life. In our cultures, we always believe we are basically the last of creation, and therefore we owe a responsibility to the rest of the creation that came before us. Agwego aska andadi wawe no ni onkwa ni gora dano to gade nyoto nonkwa ni ura. We put our minds together, and now let our minds be that way. Agwego aska andade wawe no ni onkwa ni gora dano to nyoto hak ne onkwa ni gora. We put our minds together, and now let our minds stay that way. We greet and we thank all the people. We greet and thank our Mother Earth. When we think of our Mother Earth, we think of the Sky Woman who came from the sky and poured her birthing waters onto what we call today Turtle Island. In the story, it's a long story, so I'll make it very short. In the story, as she comes down, we have the crane and the loon, and the loon is looking down, and he's on the water. Says there's no earth at that time. He's on the water, and he could see her coming, and he thought she was coming from below. And the crane looked up and said, no, she's coming from above. So they had a conference, all the ones that could fly, swim, and be on the waters. And they said, we will go and we'll put a cushion up there, a cloud, so that she can rest until we find a place for her. And then turtle, beaver, otter, muskrat, and all of them, they decided that they would give a place for her, and each one tried and each one failed until turtle gave his back. And when we think about that, we think of the female part of creation and the turtle being the male part of creation. And as she's lowered down onto that, they come together. And she births all of the things that we have that first comes with life. So all of the plants and everything else. So she's a mother. She's the mother of our earth. One of the things she doesn't have is she doesn't have soil. So each of them tries these water beans, these ones that can float on the water. And the last one goes deep into the water, and he gets some earth and he places it there. The story is a long story, as I said, but it talks about basically how our mother became our creative being for the rest of creation. And so she always plays that significance. We have, of course, our great uncle, the sun. We have our grandmother, the moon. The great uncle's the sun with his rays of heat shining as she's placed on that back of the turtle helps to bring that production of life once again, a production of life into our world. And all of this is done for us as human beings, because as the last of the creation, they give their lives so that we can exist. And so we always owe them that debt. Yamagoa. That's thanks.
Thank you so much, Professor Brian. I had the opportunity to spend about 8 years in your ecosystem, Haudenosaunee, people of the earth, and that they are one of the most autonomous group of people who have their own passport, one forms of governance. The clan mothers govern. So there is so much to learn, and we, Professor Brian, you and your community are integral part of the Annapurna Pluriversities. We will continue to work with you, and please be part of us. I want to welcome you. So now, Catherine, please share your thoughts.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you, Brian. That was really lovely. Today, I'm going to share with you about my work in the Sacred Valley of the Incas, working to honor and protect the sacred river. It's called Wilcamayu in Runasimi. And the section of this river that I'm working to protect the culture and help support it to flourish in harmony with Pachamama is from Cusco, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, to Machu Picchu, also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So I'm really working to help the clean water and to prevent erosion, to grow food free of pollutants, and to improve the health and well-being in the Quechua communities in this glacier to river cultural landscape. I want to help them to become regenerative. This is the second highest mountain range in the world, and this valley is bound by like 17,000 foot peaks on either side. So this is a blessing that's coming to you.
¿Por qué pasa buena vida? Son Julia y son Ichucha. ¿Por qué pasa buena vida? Por Villa y Yanañahue. Son Julia y son Ichucha.
So I wanted to bring the essence of the people of this valley to all of you. Is my screen still sharing? No.
Oops, I stopped the screen sharing. I thought you were done. I apologize.
No, that's okay. And what my work there has really been to listen to the wind, to listen to the ancestors. And I want to share this as we work with Indigenous peoples around the world to understand what they know and understand what the ancestors are speaking to them. All of life is sacred. Everything is living beings. Can I do this slide? Okay. The other practice that we have is observing. Observing all of the beings, the Taitawaira, the wind, everything in this valley. And what the Quechua peoples really practice in their daily living is reciprocity. It's between humans and plants, the animals and the waters. It's also a foundation for regenerative economy. And this is where more of my work comes in. So these are some of the images of the ecological and cultural memory that is living in this land. But also in the bottom right, you see a photo that shows some of the river access, which is sort of the cultural history that shows that always these people have had access to the river for all kinds of things like fishing and recreating and swimming. But if you're 25 years or younger, you've never had a relationship with the river in the same way. So I help to identify patterns of life and well-being and wholeness, and I work with the traditional ecological knowledge of these people. Specifically, my business is called Yanapakasunchis. It's a social benefit corporation. Currently, I'm partnering with Unlocking Silent Histories to work with Indigenous youth through Nyaupanyan, which is a Indigenous organization. Nyaupanyan means ancient path, and it works to interconnect different nations and focus on the interdependence of all of life to preserve ancestral Indigenous cultural practices. I also work with Mauricio Nunez Oporto, who is a brilliant restoration ecologist who's working at the Andean Pastoral Landscape Initiative. I'm mentoring youth who are working on understanding their culture and historical knowledge, as well as visual research, and also really understanding water chemistry and their traditional ecological knowledge practices. And I'm a member of the Regenerative Communities Network. And finally, this is our vision. This is what's to come from glacier to river, creating a regeneration fund for the Sacred Valley, working with the youth videographers, with the elders to understand and remember why the river is sacred, to bring clean water and sanitation to all of the communities, even as they face rapid climate change and water scarcity, to map the watersheds and plan with action for water security, and to support climate responsive micro enterprises. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine, and all the communities and people and cultures and natures that you represent, you are bringing as a gift to us. I would like to formally invite you and your community to be part of the Annapurna Pluriversities, We have already been collaborating, but today I would formally like to extend that invitation, let your people know. I had an opportunity to exactly go through that Urubamba Valley, the sacred valley. And the word that just surprised me and excited me was that we are in conversation with every being, the rocks, the water, the wind, the bird. Nobody is excluded in that community. It's an inclusive community of all species, which blends so well with the idea of pluriversities. So we are all in one same spirit. So thank you so much, Catherine. Richard, could you please play Felipe's invocation for us? Felipe is a wonderful young family with Alejandra as his partner and 3 children. Now they have the 4th child. So they are busy tending the child. I had opportunity to spend the whole month with Felipe, Alejandra, and their family, and whole of Colombia. They took me around. One of the amazing places on earth, still alive. So Colombia, the Himalayas, the Peruvian Andes, we will all be working together to regenerate what is there. So let's hear Felipe's EarthDay invocation for us.
Hello everyone, my name is Felipe Medina. I work in fostering process of socio-ecological report around water in the small town of Barichara, Colombia. This is a town of 7,000 inhabitants where our main issue is water, mainly because we're located in a tropical dry forest ecosystem, and the balance between human activity and ecological weaving has been altered mainly in the last 30 years. And so water is asking us to come back to that place of alliance. And we began a project some months ago called Water Trails, where we were doing a participatory action research on memory and imagination associated with water. In a way, we're working with the memories of the elders, and through them with the memory of the territory, and we're working on the vision of the kids and the vision of those that have not come yet, but who are wanting to speak through us so that we can do right. And in this process, we found a very interesting element of which I want to share today, and it's the water snake. When we were asking the elders what is needed for the water to be brought back, they mentioned that if the water snake doesn't come back, then we really have no chance. So we began wondering about this water snake. We've heard of her in different occasions. We know it's present in Asia, we know it's present all throughout the Andes, but suddenly struck by the imminence of its importance, we began pondering about its reality and considering the legitimacy of these elders who have witnessed the territorial dynamics intergenerationally. You know, they've received the oral tradition, and who acknowledge that this is the creature of which the water depends. Asking Pramod here present about the water snake, he mentioned something very important about how she is the connector to the underworld. And so we began seeing this very important aspect of the vertical connectivity that water needs at all levels. The connectivity between the underworld and the subsoil, in a way the mid-world, or the Pachamama, or the place where we're here right now as humans, and the high world, the skies. And the importance of fostering that connectivity at all levels, the connectivity from sky to ground, but all that this means in terms of cultural meanings and significance. So we created a myth about the water snake so that we could explain the kids with whom we work about this water snake. And this myth tells the story of a time not long ago where the water would gush out of the mountaintops mysteriously, because there was no water catchment area uphill, but just in the very top of the mountain cliff, water would come out. And this water would roll down the cliffs, and people would bathe in it and would drink from it, and children would play. But then suddenly, what happened was that the world started changing, and the sharing of the crop became the selling of the crops. So people could, apart from eating and in a way tending to their basic necessities, they could now have radios and flashlights and these types of things. So the selling of the crops led to the turning of the water from a common good to an input for production. So people saw that if they have more water, they could have more crops and sell more crops and get more flashlights. And at this time, the people started fighting, and they were fighting over the water. Before that, at each of these well springs, there was a snake, and people would see the snake when they would come to drink water, and this was the water tender. She who brought water from the very, very, very deep currents, she brought it to the surface. And people knew that the water snake was there to be respected. But then when people started fighting around water, two neighbors started arguing of whom did the water of the wellspring belong. So one of them very rapidly decided to take out a machete and cut the wellspring in half, with the bad luck that the water snake was right below where the machete blade passed through. And the blood of the water snake started running down the river. And all of the other water snakes scented that blood and saw that human beings had started fighting about water, so that they must hide deep under their soil again, so that, and be very attentive for the moment when peace can make them come back. This was a story that we found, and it's a story that has been moving in us in this country as Colombia, where war has been ravaging the territories for many decades, and think the possibility that through water and by water and listening to water, we can have peace come back. And not only can peace come back by means of water, but water can come back by means of peace. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Senor Felipe. Wow. So if someday our dream is that in Barichara, Colombia, that we will have one of the sub-centers of Annapurna Pluriversities to connect that part of the forest culture, land-based culture with the Himalayan culture and several other ecosystems that we will be getting to know very soon. One of the thing about the water snake is that my name, actually the astrological name, is the king of the snakes, Padma. But then later on I changed it to Pramod, but I could change it only with the P in the beginning. Not, my father said, you can change it if you like, but it has to be P to begin, so Pramod. But actually my tendencies are also, now I'm realizing, I am like the underworld, protecting and trying to manifest and trying to regenerate. So it fits very well with the theme of the water. And later on, you will see that the water gardens will be one of the key features of Annapurna pedagogy. So that is one way we are bringing the element of water and the water beings into the regeneration. So now, could you, Richard, could you please play the EarthDay footage that we got this morning from Indian Himalayas?
Yeah, I'll bring it right up.
Thank you.
On this Earth Day, we are beginning with a bit of a gratitude. This is the old lady, as they say, resident of the forest, and she is the custodian and the steward of all the natural resources. So we have a tradition that as we collect things from the forest, we make an offering. Now, many times it could be just considered ritualistic, but if we actually see on a daily basis, it is a sense of gratitude. And That's how a lot of practices have been structured. So for example, we just go to the Chamudev temple, where we offer gratitude for the health of the livestock to the Chamudev, and for the fertility, message of fertility to cows and buffaloes and goats that the Chamudeva can provide. So similarly, we get a lot of intangible and tangible services from the forest. The other tangible service is collection of the leaf dung and cow manure. So we are also on this Earth Day celebrating the making of Amrit Pani and Amrit Mitti. As the livestock populations are dwindling, it's even more important that the health of the forest is there for the natural farming and the organic agriculture that's gaining ground once again after a gap of 30-40 years. So on this Earth Day, we dedicate ourselves to this very deep connection with the landscape. Thank you.
To address the problem of urban traffic congestion, China's new energy manufacturer BioSphere spent 7
Richard, could we continue that footage?
There was a glitch in the video. I'll be right. I'll put it back up again.
Okay.
Having a little trouble with it. You want to hold on for a second and let me.
Richard, I was thinking if you need some time, we could have Seth go ahead and then we will come back to this footage.
What? Yeah. Why don't you come back and I'll put it up again?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Seth, could you jump in?
Hello, namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
My name is Seth Quigg. I reside in Crested Butte, Colorado, USA. I have been an outdoor and adventure educator since 2002. And can you everybody see me?
No.
Okay.
Hold on a second. I'm going to stop the sharing. We can see you now. Did you start the Earth Day video? Hello?
He has his one slides. Seth has his one slides.
Okay, so it's clear again. Try again, Seth.
Can everybody see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, thanks, Seth.
Yeah, you got it. So my name is Seth Quigg. I live in Crested Butte, Colorado, a small ski town at the top of the watershed. I have been involved in adventure education and outdoor education since 2002. I started as a guide on the rivers in North Carolina and California, and followed my passion in the outdoors to education, and started teaching for 2 different organizations in 2008 that ran trips all over the world. We'd take Western students on cultural expeditions and outdoor expeditions. And I've also owned my own commercial guiding outfit for the last 5 years. I am a photographer as a hobby, and I've also sold photographs as well. And I am delighted that Pramod has invited me to work with Annapurna Pluriversities in an amazing capacity. I've been kind of waiting for him to show up. And so Thank you, Pramod, for the invitation, and lovely to be here. But I've spent a lot of time in countries all over the world. I didn't pay rent anywhere for 12 years, and just traveled and got to be got to work with a lot of students all throughout the world. I've led over 12 expeditions, commercially guided and student expeditions in the Himalaya. So Nepal and Indian Himalaya and Tibet, and all the way from Vietnam to Tajikistan is very dear to my heart. I've also spent a lot of time in Peru, in the Valle Sagrado, and in Chile, and all over. But here's some of the photographs that I believe resonate with Annapurna Pluriversities. And this is a school that I worked with in Pokhara, taking a group of Western students here. We kind of shared a cultural experience, and to me, it's all about education. I'm currently on the board of a charter school in North Carolina called the Mountain Discovery Charter School, and we're 5 miles from Cherokee, and teach cultural and regional studies in Cherokee. We teach farming, gardening, construction. It's a very holistic type of education, which I think the CCC and the COVID is really, it's perfect timing for that, and perfect timing for us to talk about regeneration. Yeah, so these are just a series of photographs that I've taken along the way. I started going to these, traveling around the world in pursuits of the outdoor activities, but then soon after it dawned on me that we're nothing without each other, and the human aspect of traveling became the most important. So a lot of these photographs are in Nepal and Uttarakhand, in Tibet, and here's kind of a photograph of cultural exchange programs we used to run. Oh boy. And so, yeah, my gratitude is for you all and for this exchange. I've worked with a lot of you around the world. I know Akshay and Ajay from Uttarakhand and Ravi, and I think this has the potential to be an amazing cohort to change the world. And again, it's our perfect time. My biggest strength is my network of people around the world. I work with this company called Empowered, and we make these solar lights, as you can see in this photograph. And we raised $20,000 and put a solar panel on a Maasai school in Tanzania, and gave all of our students these solar lights. And I've passed these out through different countries all over the world as a means to provide light for people that don't have it easily. I also own another adventure travel company, and my focus is on adventure philanthropy. So bringing guests to different places around the world, but doing good with the local people. So that's all I have. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to be here and to learn from you all and to make a positive change moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Amazing, just the best contribution of this diversity of human existence, and that you will be a great asset for the Annapurna Pluriversities network. And I also met your partner, who has 2 young children, 12 and 15-year young. And I have asked Haravin, that's her name, to figure out how these young children all over the world could become Annapurna fellows and generate their own resources. So she will be coming up with a plan in about 2 weeks, and we will see how that might actually be a breakthrough about how to finance fellowship through the youth themselves. So we are going to experiment on that. And thank you so much. And I will see you this afternoon. And we're going to do some exploration on the headwaters of San Juan and the hot springs and all that. So we are also having fun at the same time. So now, Richard, what I'm thinking about the video is, since Ajay will be presenting right after me, why not we start with the video and Ajay will fill in? I think that will fit in very nicely. So now I would like to invite Nancy to do your presentation. Nancy, she lives in Oregon by the coast, and that she has mastered the art of yoga, and basically she will teach us about the interiority and the exteriority. And you might have to go a little faster, Nancy, so but we will be looking at your slides for details, okay?
Ramon, we seem to have a problem here. Nancy's video is off. There we go.
Posing, Richard, is that video from India. We will replay it during Ajay's presentation. That will be right after me. That will fit in very well. Sure.
Yep, the video is queued up, so we're good to go.
Okay, I will tell you when. Okay.
Are you able to hear me?
And Nancy, your video is turned off.
Oh.
Okay. No, her PowerPoint is off. It's good. Richard.
Okay, but her video is off. Okay.
Oh. Nancy also has a video.
It says unable to start video because the host has stopped it.
Oh.
No, I didn't stop. Try it again, Nancy. There you go.
Okay, there I am. Hey, everyone. Richard, could you please play the Soham mantra?
I'm sorry, Nancy, I do not have it queued up.
Oh, okay.
My apologies.
Okay, namaste. I honor the place in you of light and love and truth and peace. I honor the place in me of light and love and truth and peace. When you are in that place in you and I am in that place in me, We are one. This is, I have a, of the chakras, the yoga chakras and the energetic awakening for our collective interbeing. The crown chakra is, we're energetically interwoven with all of creation. And one of my teachers said that the bodhisattva, like all the 1,000 petals of the crown chakra, interweave into all of creation. And also in the Christian tradition, when the saint has the halo glowing above the head, the crown chakra is awakened, and we know to touch life with care and love and respect, because we're interwoven. The 7 major chakras, they also go with the elements, and we'll go to the slides that show, like, first I wanted to show comprehensively like all 7 of them from the root chakra up to the crown chakra. And here's the root chakra. The color is red, and it's our affinity with the mineral kingdom, the earth element. And I would like for all of us to sound the Om together 3 times for the beautiful, our oneness with the mineral kingdom. Are we all unmuted to be able to sound the Om together? Okay, I will sound my gong since I'm not hearing. If you'd like to sound the Om together with the gong 3 times for the beautiful oneness with the mineral kingdom and the earth element, and our love and respect for the earth. The second chakra at the sacral chakra at the reproductive organs, it's also our oneness with the water element. Human body is 70% water, so is the earth body 70% water. It's also our affinity with the plant kingdom and the beautiful autotrophic, how plants are able to make photosynthesis and get their energy directly from the sun. Like, the intelligence of that is so incredible. Let's sound the Om 3 times for...
Nancy, could I make a suggestion? Zoom does not do multiple voices very well. So
okay.
If you would Om or ask someone to Om, it'd be much better.
Okay. Jim Garrison, would you want to do the Om?
Sure.
Sure.
How many times?
3 times for the, and to feel it's 6 petals, the dominant color is orange, and it's our oneness with water is life, the water element and the plant kingdom. The third chakra at the solar plexus is the fire element, and how we make our energy in the human body and for the earth, and to come into harmony for the fire element. It's also the animal kingdom and the human will for our strong, spunky zest for life. So Jim, 3 ohms, and everyone to feel that it's the beautiful energy of our solar plexus fire element chakra.
Jim, you're muted.
Oh. The fourth chakra is the Anahata heart chakra. The dominant color is green, and it's the air element, and the human kingdom, and to awaken the human heart of compassion. That compassion flow as ubiquitously as the air. Jim, will you please everyone to feel our beautiful collective heart energy for compassion and kindness and respect.
Nancy, due to the time, so
Okay.
it is going so well. So we will have this as our curriculum in the Annapurna Pluriversities. So could you, in 1 minute, could you conclude? But we already now feel that this is going to go all the chakras. And Jean,
Yeah.
you are, how did she know that you would do it so nicely? It's amazing.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I could feel his beautiful yoga energy. So the throat chakra is the etheric element, and it's the smallest contractions in the universe and the expansions. And so like the concentrated life in the seeds that we plant in our garden, and then the whole universe, the expansions. And it's also for authentic voice, of that we speak our truth, and we speak from the heart, and creative genius, like all of the literature and music and poetry. The Ajna chakra at the third eye, this is where we meditate, and we bring all the energy from the lower chakras, and we want to rise it up to the crown chakra of how the wisdom of living with respect and love for all of for each other, that we're all interwoven and connected. And so we meditate, and the Om sound is in this crown chakra. I mean, in the third eye for meditation. And oops. And then again, the 1,000-petal lotus, and even peasants, like when we're awake and we feed the birds and we love each other and we love the earth, like all of us can be awakened with that beautiful bodhisattva energy. And here's one of my teachers of the beautiful flowers, like when I'm squatting in the garden, pulling weeds, and I get so quiet, the daffodil teaches me of the beautiful Om sound, just like Jim shares the beautiful Om sound of creation. And here's another of some of my beautiful flowers that I've grown in my garden that are my teachers for how intimately we're interwoven with the bee pollinators and the soil, mending the soil. And Jim, if you could bless us with one more Om for all the beautiful energy of the chakras for our interbeing. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Yes, you are invited formally to be part of Annapurna Pluriversities. This is the performativity aspect, because it's not just in our head, should not be in just words, that there will be so much performativity. That is what blends the nature and culture together. And that is very much an intrinsic part of the Annapurna regenerative curriculum. So now I would like, Richard, could you put my PowerPoint? I will highlight a few things because of time, and then invite other contributors.
Do you want the Earth Dance film now?
Not now, after me, because Ajay will continue that anyway. He's from there, he's part of that.
Okay, just a second. I had that queued up, but let me put up your PowerPoint.
My PowerPoint called Humanity Rising 421.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a second. Let me get it up and I'll.
Okay.
Wow.
That is Mary's.
That's Mary's. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It says Humanity Rising, April 21. Or we could go with Mary, but it would be nice for me to bring those things together.
Yeah, things got a little scrambled with that video. Let me go to Mary and then I'll find yours and get it back up again.
Okay, Mary, please go ahead.
Mary, are you going to show your own slideshow just so we're
Yes, I'll share my own screen. Give me one moment just because this was a...
Yeah, we're all kind of flying now.
Okay, hang on a moment.
So there will be a lot of elements of adventure education, experiential education, ecological education in the pedagogy of Annapurna Pluriversities, which I will explain that more. But Mary is one of the big teachers and practitioner of that modality of pedagogy. So let's hear from her.
Yes, so hopefully can everyone hear me? All right. Okay, good. This will be a good introduction to what Pramod, who has been a great mentor of mine for many years. So good introduction to what he's talking about, especially the concept of nature cultures. So again, my name is Dr. Mary Jackson. I'm faculty at Prescott College. I'm a feminist and post-humanist researcher and scholar with an emphasis in Nepal and Himalayan studies, adventure, sustainability, and the outdoors. I have worked in outdoor and adventure education for many years, both here in the States and abroad, and I live in Golden, Colorado. So in these few 5-6 minutes, I'm going to try to sum up the role of adventure in Annapurna Pluriversities. Adventure education or adventure is pretty much just experiencing a sense of place, the environment and ecology, and an entangled nature and culture, really anywhere around the world. It is a way of connecting to a place with all of one's senses through challenge, potentially risk, through emotions, and transformation of one's identity and understanding of the world, which makes it a very powerful pedagogy for transformation in this day and age. Adventure is thus a way to critically connect with people, the planet, and the cosmos. But why adventure? Why are we making this a part of Annapurna? Adventure really is a relic of imperialism and the European romanticization of place. It has evolved from quest for domination of place and people, or colonialism, to a spiritual or consumeristic escape from the modern world, to an attempt to return or reconnect to nature. Adventure today, though, is necessary to adapt to the changes of the Anthropocene, to be regenerative. The adventure industry, we're all very much aware of that probably, includes everything from adventure tourism and education to the marketing and production of consumer goods for outdoor activities. What they have in common has to do with the ways in which nature is a commodity and used for various types of activities that vary from extreme adventure to casual day hikes to armchair mountaineering literature. However, the goal is to shift from this idea, to connect to place with all of one's senses and awareness, and moving through a more than human landscape. The goal is to have an embodiment with self, with place, and decenter the human perspective, decolonize, and develop awareness and appreciation for place. So here, instead of that commodity, we're focused on using adventure as regenerative, as sustainable, shifting the dominant and colonial and commodifying practices to one that integrates an awareness of privilege, impacts, and changing the dominant discourse and narratives. Through emergent processes in the outdoors, we can again shift conversations and practices to ones that are visionary for the present and future. So adventure integrates experiential learning. It's learning through doing, hands-on experiences, problem solving, activities and adventures, and again, applying those lessons towards transformation. It does, however, require a pedagogy that focuses on these shifts, that looks at context, subjectivities, and the background of both participants, as well as where one is on the adventure. And this may include everything from planning a group trek through the mountains or an expedition, river trips, camping and connecting with local groups abroad, and learning and sharing cultures. Or like here in this photo, moving across one of the largest glaciers in the world in Kumbho, Nepal, and actually noting how the glaciers change, how the climate is affected, and how our role as humans are making an impact on that. One of the key aspects of adventure is leadership. Many young people go on trips to develop leadership skills that they take back home and apply to many different contexts. Because adventure, again, it develops competence, confidence, these leadership skills, and it can occur through developing challenging technical skills such as climbing, mountaineering, and trekking, or just the challenge of being away from home, of being confronted with the challenges of the world, of what's happening to the planet. So to develop a leadership capacity through adventure requires a critical awareness, creative thinking, context-based understanding of place, and an intimate knowledge of topography and place. Again, this is necessary for visionary change, and we need leaders who think beyond themselves, and adventure can do this for many age groups. Socio-ecological understanding and awareness is a big aspect of adventure, is one of the more powerful aspects of it as well. It more than connects people with place, but develops an embodiment of place and understanding the nuances and complexities of wherever we are. It also means developing an understanding of the agency of more than human. More than human meaning everything from the rocks to the wind to the altitude to the animals and human beings that you'll see on an adventure. It means understanding the agency of place and the entanglements of human, society, culture, politics, history, ecology, and more. And this awareness, again, can lead to action and change. So embodiment or place responsiveness means being aware of local and indigenous contexts of the outdoor place that we participate in these activities and adventures that involves intimate knowledge of local culture and ecology and beyond. It is subjective and contextual. And lastly, climate and adventure, or the Anthropocene and adventure, Earth and adventure, tying together the idea of embodiment with and of place. The human and nature is inseparable, and to develop an awareness and understanding of topography and the changes caused by the Anthropocene, adventure experiences and education connect participants with intimacies of place such as this. And in this photo, this is a melting glacier that shifts year after year. And one can note that and can feel that and really embody this drastic change on the planet. So in shifting the concept of place and how meaning is made, in places such as mountains, a reciprocity develops in which humans and more than humans become embedded and inseparable. By shifting an anthropocentric gaze that privileges and sets matter apart as isolated and constrained by boundaries determined by humans, to one in which rocks, altitude, trees, and the weather is material with agency, allows one to develop a narrative of place with an entangled agency. Nature is not a passive object upon which humans descend, but rather, again, an entangled subjectivity. So adventure experiences with this in mind can instill an urgency, an empathy, and action to shift the enactments of the Anthropocene. In this vision of adventure, one does not impose an idealism of conquering mountains, but rather adapt to the varied intra-connections of place, decenter the human, decenter whiteness, to understand the necessity of reciprocal relationships with place and the nuanced entanglements of nature cultures, the living ecological systems of mountains, the inanimate performativity of rocks, lichen, dirt, and moss, and the history. Again, that social, geologic, and the climate elements of place that can all shape an adventure experience. So by stepping back and slowing down, the mountains or the place, the environment can make their agency known. And that is the point of the future of adventure. So short and sweet, but hopefully that can lead us right into what Pramod is going to talk about. But what I do in my work and working with graduate students is shifting the idea of what adventure means, decolonizing, and really looking forward to the future and educating students to be leaders and transfer these theories to their own context, their own subjectivities, whether it be in the Utah desert, in the Himalaya, in the Amazon, wherever they work, and shifting these dominant narratives to one that is entangled. Thank you.
So much, Professor Mary Jackson. So you might want to imagine that it is a combination of John Moore and Rachel Carson together. Do you see? That is not only the John Moore going into the Yosemite, it is the Rachel Carson changing the pesticide discourse. So that's the kind of pedagogy. And we already have in our Annapurna network people from the Andes and people, Mary Jackson, Seth Quigg, and Sagarika Bhatta, young woman from Nepal who did solo adventure tourism in the Himalayas, and Meghalaya, the riverman. You will get to know them very soon, and Ajay and from India and all that. So this is going to be a very, very significant part, and they will be aligned with water gardens and medicinal gardens and sacred gardens. So it is going to be a very different form. So we're going to contribute in this field. Richard, which one are you ready? I think we're going to go where you are rather than where we.
Okay, I have your PowerPoint up. Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
Great. Okay. So due to time, I'm going to be a little fast and move fast. So basically, could you move to the second one, Richard? Yes. Again, I want to emphasize, I did a lot on this on March 22nd presentation. Again, the idea is the goddess of full harvest can she lead us to our abundant, Annapurna abundant. Can the Himalayas contribute this idea to the world, which is now completely captured by what to do with climate and what to do with coronaviruses? We'll go to the third. So Annapurna Pluriversities, after several years and months of interaction with hundreds of you and many bioregions, this is what Mike April, my amazing assistant and fellow friend, and I wanted to capture it as a maple leaf, or you can also look at it as your hand with the 5 fingers. So the core of it is Annapurna Pluriversities will engage with different bioregions, the Himalayas, the Andes, the Ethiopian highlands. It could be, we might be working in the Nordic environment also. A lot of connections are being made in Norway, for example, right now, and in Sweden. So within that bioregion, we offer 5, do you see the 5 leaves? 5 services, 5 whatever we can offer, contribute if they need it. So the first one is integrative ISER design, which I will come a little bit further elaboration based on the Himalayan study of what needs to be done. It is integrative socio-ecological regenerative design. Some element of that is they are relevant to different bioregions and modify them accordingly. We want to offer that. So the third one, we want to offer leadership academies to elected municipal, start there, bioregional leaders, educators, school teachers, foresters, agriculture people, seed people, everybody who needs leadership on regeneration. We are developing that capacity. Then on plurimedia, narrative and expression, today's panel already shows you that it is going to be not just text, video. It is going to be performative, applied, embedded. What Mary Jackson was saying, what Nancy was saying, what Seth is saying, what Brian demonstrated for us, what Catherine already brought, that kind of embedded, entangled nature and culture, plurimedia expressions will have a room. And our website, we hope to make that very alive. And Anil Bhattarai will tell us at the end how he can do that. Then Annapurna Regeneration Fellows will be that we want the new generation starting from the 4th grade, so they are at 9, 10 years young. We want to recruit them as Annapurna Regeneration Fellows and give them all these skills and knowledge as they can engage through these garden pedagogies, which I will talk a little later. And that these fellows, when they will be 20 years young, they will be talking like Jim Garrison and me, that we begin to talk when we are 60. You see, because we want them to be ready to engage in regenerating the world now. We cannot wait. And they might not need a PhD or even master's. We want them to be ready to jump in to regenerate culture, nature, food, water, everything before they get a degree. And that we hope to do it through regenerative pedagogies based on gardens. So let's move to the next one. Yes, the bioregions that we have identified are the Himalayas, the Andes, Mexico City. You heard a young man from Elias from Mexico City on March 22. North America, we are now finding 5-6 bioregions which will work with us, including the Smoky Mountain in Northern Carolina that Seth is bringing with him. We have the Northern California. We have Rio Arriba, where I am right now in Southern Colorado and Mexico. And then in Africa, we have already worked, mostly I have worked, Mary and Seth, we have worked in the Kenya, Tanzania mountain regions and the Ethiopian highland. I am very interested in what we hear and learning from them. Next. So the regenerative leadership, again, focusing on the municipal leader. Then master's degree, we are working with Jim and his colleagues to offer this kind of more self-reliant and a biocultural, Gandhian self-reliance and a biocultural mode of leadership for regeneration. And Annapurna will be making a formal proposal, short-term and long-term. And we are thinking Annapurna might engage in 5-year actually offering 3 masters. So Jim, I will have to talk with you about that. And we are already offering a doctoral degree through Southwestern College, Santa Fe, that's where I'm going next week, on regenerative leadership. And some of the presenters today will be students there, like Adam and Sagarika and others. And they will be in bioregional institutions in collaboration with, and there will be hundreds and thousands of professional development opportunities for whoever needs on whatever topic, whatever skill, however time frame they need. You see, they can afford to, through online, through visitation, through interview, whatever. We want everybody to get what they need without any discrimination. Hopefully we will generate resources. So next. So that I already covered. Next. Mary and Seth and Sagarika now later on will explain on that. So basically we are thinking about edible gardens, learning gardens, water gardens, forest gardens, medicinal gardens, and sacred gardens. And there, what I have kind of done it successfully in Portland, Oregon is the children and youth will engage not only how to learn how to make a garden, right? That many people teach, but the other side also, that gardening to learn. So when you are doing water garden, you are basically learning geography, history, biology, chemistry, climate, everything like that. So it will be very interesting, innovative pedagogy. And we're going to blend that, Mary and Seth and Sagarika, blend that with what you bring, adventure, the ecological, the experiential, life skill and livelihood. That way, what Professor Mary Jackson wants, decolonizing the adventure of the white male, bring it to everybody's skill set for regeneration. See how exciting work we are up to. So next. So due to COVID, things might change, the classroom design might change, and we want to be already ahead, thinking ahead on that, but they will be circular. They might be a little bit in distance, but actually, this might actually be a great opportunity for outdoor adventure, experiential, ecological education. And with our content and process, we will make it a regenerative for life and livelihood. Next. I think that I already explained on March 22. This is the view in the middle of climate and coronavirus disruption. And it corresponds, Nancy, if you see it, your chakra from umbilicus, right? All the way there. And I don't know how much you focus on the Agni, the second part, we focus there. And that will be interesting to have a dialogue with the yoga chakra system and what I am proposing. Next. So in this view, what we are seeing is we want to regenerate the life system, life force, the fire, not only of the human body, but of the water body, the soil body, the carbon body, the forest body, the the earthworm body, everybody. And that's where our curriculum is going to be pretty far ahead, bringing from every discipline, but moving so far further that we will begin posting these models on the website very soon. Next. Again, this is my view of that kind of the blending of the nature cultures. I have already said that humans have three qualities that makes me hopeful: learning, unlearning, and relearning. Many people have given up, but I am not going to give up. I think we are hardwired. If we could scratch a little bit in, motivate a little bit, we can make human being learn, unlearn, and relearn. And this is the amazing opportunity. Next. So this is a Nepali way of looking at the world. See how we make a plate out of a leaf of a tree. And that's what we eat. And then we throw it, and the cows will eat it, otherwise it will biodegrade. Everything there is biodegradable. It goes back to the earthly process. So Nepal is already a lot of cement, a lot of ideas from my dear old America about how to destroy life. We want to clean that up and bring that Nepali vernacular way of understanding life. And here she is, look, from the wild leaf of a plant with a bamboo stitch creating this plate. This is the image of Annapurna Pluriversities regeneration. Next. That one is with that socio-ecological integrative design, which I don't want to engage now because of time. Another one. That is also the same, but it starts with water. In the Himalayan landscape, very steep. Unless we know how to harvest water, retain water, and recharge, any of these life, learning, leadership, livelihood possibilities are depleting. And that's what we witness in Colombia, in Kenya, in Peru, in the Himalayas. We want to learn this basic regenerative principle, and that will constitute one of the primary, one of the 5 leaves, remember, the regenerative socio-ecological design, according to the bioregional need. For example, in Barichara, the young man says, it is the water again. We lost the value of water, how to deal with water. So we are going to engage with this curriculum design. Next. Look at the water technologies that we have forgotten in the Himalayas. And women are going to take the lead in how to harvest water, retain water, and recharge water. And another regenerative civilization will emerge out of this. Next. So here for Annapurna, learning is not a noun, it is a verb. And I want to share with you this on the left, the little boat. It is made by 4th and 5th graders in Portland, Oregon. It is made of a fiber that they learned from the Alaskan sea voyagers. It is so light, Jim, that if it encounters a leaf on the river, that is the Willamette River, it will go around the leaf, not go against it. And it was built by one mentor and 4th and 5th grade children in 10 days. This is the power we want to unleash, to learn regeneration in an exponential way, in such a way. And Mary, do you, and Christian, do you remember the guy with the yellow vest behind me, Rick Medrick? This is my treat for him, saying, come to Portland, I will show you how to do regenerative education. So we are floating in Willamette River. Next. So this is too complex. That will be on the website. I will explain that next. Annapurna Fellows. These are the fourth graders in 2005 in Portland, Oregon, in the learning garden that we created. Look what happened when they were digging for the soil. They engage in a plot, individual plot and the class. Class has a big plot and individual has a 4 by 6 feet plot. And they learn from soil to supper. And now Dr. Christian is bringing idea of sustenance. And these are the kind of people I am imagining will be Annapurna Regeneration Fellows. And the financing of it, Jim, you and I will have to really talk on this. We don't want to go to Rockefeller. We don't want to go to Walmart. How are they going to finance themselves through the regenerative activities? And I'm thinking about 555. So one person in America has another member, fellow peer member in Kenya, another in the Andes, another in the Himalayas, and these 5 will have 5 another. Remember this, 555. 1, 5, 5, 25, 125, go this way. So I learned a little bit on this from Gandhi and also Che Guevara, the foci, right? So there is so much innovation needed to make this fellow program self-generating, self-financing, and self-learning. And in 5 years, we will be having these sessions by the 5 of them from different parts of the world telling us what they did together, learning together. So we are working on that model. Next. So this is the learning garden innovation we did in Portland, Oregon. And that really is core part of the regenerative pedagogies. And here you might want to learn from people like Manasuba Fukuoka from Onistra Revolution, where he says that garden might not change the world, but it will change the human and all other species to change the world. That's the way to look at it. So let's go to the next one, and I will stop there for now. This one. Yes. So look at what can we do in a garden. Map it out, geometry, calculus, mathematics, distance, place, eat it, harvest it. Everything can be done in a garden. And that Dr. Sabarunga Bergna will explain more how she sees that possible in Northern California. So basically, eating is an agricultural act. Our guru, Wendell Berry, says that, right? He is a farmer poet from Port Royal, Kentucky. And I extrapolate him saying agriculture is ecological act. Ecology is a pedagogical act, and a pedagogy can be transformational and a regenerative act. So I want to stop there to allow for more time for my other presenters. So Richard, are you ready for Ajay? And with that video, rest of the video from India, then Ajay will jump in right after that.
Okay, give me 1 second to get it up.
Yes.
और यहाँ पे जितना जो कुछ भी जंगल से मिलता है, लकड़ी, पिरुल, कोई भी चीज़, तो यहाँ पे उसका कुछ हिस्सा थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे बूढ़ी अम्मा को चढ़ाया जाता है, क्योंकि इससे एक मतलब सभी लोग जो भी जंगल से कोई भी चीज़ लेके आता है वो थैंक यू बोलता है कि हमें मतलब ये चीज़ मिल रही है जंगल से, इसलिए बूढ़ी अम्मा को थैंक यू बोलते हैं। आज हम चमू देवता के मंदिर आए हैं और यहाँ पे जो हमारी भैंस है बसंती, उसका आज हम दूध चढ़ाने के लिए आए हैं। और ये चमू देवता का मंदिर, हमारे पूर्वजों का कहना है कि जिस तरीके से गाय बच्चियों को कोई भी प्रॉब्लम होती है तो हम यहाँ पे पूजा वगैरह करते हैं और भगवान से मन्नत मांगते हैं कि अगर ठीक हो जाएंगे तो आपके यहाँ पूजा करेंगे एंड या फिर बलि देंगे बकरे की। तो क्या कहते हैं वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो जाती है, इसलिए इसकी बहुत बड़ी मान्यता है। यहाँ के जो भगवान थे वो बोलते थे, और यहाँ पे जो एक स्टोन है वो क्या कहते हैं भीम जी ने माना जाता है कि पांडव खोली से फेंका। इसमें 3 अंगुलियों की वो है, छाप है उनकी इस स्टोन में। और कहते हैं एक बार क्या हुआ कि बहुत शाम का टाइम हो गया था, तो शाम के टाइम पे कोई अपना हल चला रहा था, तो उस टाइम पे यहाँ के भगवान ने बोला कि अभी टाइम हो गया, तुम कल हल जोत लेना, लेकिन उन्होंने सुना नहीं, उन्हें उस दिन से बात करना छोड़ दिया।
And here's the ongoing process of making Amrit Mitti. And Shri Ajay Rastogi ji will now talk a little bit about it.
So you know that the number of cows that people rear now are getting reduced. But still we need a lot of compost for our vegetable production and food grain. So this is a way, in a limited amount with limited amount of cow dung and cow urine, we can make a high quality compost of effective microorganisms. So we started with a culture of a liter of cow urine, 50 grams jaggery, and 1 kg of cow dung, fresh cow dung, and then we got 100 liters of liquid compost, which we are adding on to it.
This is our 100 liters of liquid compost which we're using. Amrit Pani. And then we're going to leave this for how many days are we going to?
Leave it for at least 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah.
And it will be kind of covered?
It will be,
to
we'll retain moisture
moisture,
in it, so we can put some gunny bag over it.
Okay.
And keep adding water.
Water.
Yeah.
Then plain water after
Plain
that.
water after that.
This is Kundanda, and this is Gopida. This is like healing the earth on Earth Day.
So before I invite Ajay, who you already saw in the picture, I would like to share that the years of 1970, 71, 72 were that very transformative period, like now we are going through that same way. See, 2021, 2022, 2020, there was something similar happening in our thinking in the 70s. EarthDay in America with the senator, right, Nelson, and then this guy, young man. Stockholm Conference, first environmental global conference, 72. And what was happening in the Indian Himalayas? Do you remember? Chipko movement. A peasant woman in this village and many other villages where we are seeing the picture now, did embrace the trees when the furniture company people came to cut down this forest, cut down trees, and they embraced, and the people who came to cut down trees had to go back because how could you, they said, kill me first before killing the tree. And we are now hearing from Ajayada the story from that forest, that communities, Himalayan communities of India, where Mahatma Gandhi had this idea of protecting nature without, he didn't know the word nature or ecology, but he was an ecologist. And then there were these 2 sisters from England who had a cow farm in these Himalayan mountains. And the disciple of them, Sundarlal Bahugunaji and Chandi Prasad Vatta, were organizing these women to embrace these trees. So 1972, Chipko movement. That is where actually Vandana Shiva started her career. And she is now extrapolating Earth democracy, which Christian will talk more. So Ajayda, please share with us your wisdom.
Well, I'm so honored to be included in this panel of so many people who are connected with their soul, body, mind, and wisdom and years of experience. So
HA,
I
your
think,
video's not on. HA, your video's not on.
yeah, I think I'm on not such a good internet today. We had a storm.
Okay.
So is the voice clear?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So, and there is no power as well. So even if I switch on the video, it would be quite dark.
We just hear you and you will share us later on. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And so definitely in the biocultural place-based learning, I think is the way for the forward. And especially in the pandemic time, we have seen that the resilient communities have been those that have been still cultivating their fields and still living and cooking their own food and managing their own water and livestock. So we have had villages where there have been no case of corona and no case of need for food distribution to be made available to them through the year. And I think this has opened up the eyes of the district administration as well as the government to the fact that whereas inaccessibility and low infrastructure is considered poor poverty, but on the other hand, the richness of the life lies in having your own food systems, the clean river systems, communitarian ways of living together, helping. And the four key values that we see are reciprocity, equilibrium with nature, collectivity, like coming together to work and helping each other, and so those are, I think, what we are trying to do is to rejuvenate, and for the cash earning of the village community, we have also started a residential program where the skills are taught, and they are based on three principles. One is dignity of physical work, and we teach interdependence, that is the second value, and the third value is interconnectedness. So I would love to collaborate with everyone, and once again express my gratitude to Professor Parajuli, and welcome to our village whenever you travel to the north and into the Himalayas in Uttarakhand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ajay. And Shibani, the young woman there who was in the video going to the temple and explaining, she was Shibani, works very closely. She is one of the leaders of a women's group there. That Ajay's institution works very closely, and they offer this one semester living regeneration curriculum, which will be now part of the Annapurna network. Now I want to invite another story of regeneration from a very troubled country called Venezuela. So Adam, are you there? Adam and Hildemir.
Hey, I'll call you right back, Bob. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'll call you back. Hey, guys, so sorry about that. Life happens. And anyway, we're all here together. I really appreciate being here with you all, and I'm humbled to do so. My name is Adam Skrency, and I'm the Executive Director of the Center for Infrastructure and Society. I'm here with a team member who's based out of Venezuela named Hildemir Chacin. And we join you from the belly of the beast. At least, one of the most extractive industries on earth is the construction industry. And I actually join you with my tool bags on. I'm at a construction project right now. And, you know, it's, there's a lot of work that we need to do in our industry to make changes. And what the Center for Infrastructure and Society is attempting to do is to embrace those ideas and principles behind regeneration and leverage the resources of the industry, very wealthy industry, to help jumpstart really great long-term regenerative development projects around the world, specifically in emerging markets where that impact will be best felt. And so anyway, that's a little bit of introduction of what we do. We work with contact companies, we work with nonprofits, we work with schools. We introduce new kinds of construction education curriculum that embraces these principles. But we're also trying to help guide building departments and small general contractors, large general contractors. You know, if you've ever heard of Bechtel, Halliburton, AECOM, you know, some of these companies, they actually list an offering of democracy building. So what's that about? Why are infrastructure companies around the world building democracy, or how are they building democracy? What's their definition of that? So we're looking to embrace these kinds of ideas that you've all shared here today, just beautiful ideas, and work from inside the beast to make those changes as best we can, especially when the rubber hits the pavement, as they say, in the world of development, which we all know needs we need to make some changes in what those words mean. So without any further ado, I'm going to share screen, and I'll allow Hildemir Chasin, who's our project leader in Caracas, leading a project which is focused on developing a concept of an urban hilltop farm. A lot of communities, as you may know, around the world, but specifically in South America, a lot of the poorest are on hillsides. And for those folks to get access to fresh food and produce, they tend to have to drive very far to get there. That's how our infrastructure has ended up in this world post-industrialization. So we're attempting to challenge that, and we're attempting to jumpstart a beautiful project in Caracas to do so. Hildemir is leading and in the early stages of a feasibility study on what's happening there. So I'm going to share screen. Give me one moment.
This is Jim Garrison. Adam and Hildemir, we're running significantly over time, so you need to be quite brief because we need to bring this to a close in the next 3 to 5 minutes.
No problem. That is absolutely part of our plan. We're going to do this in 3 minutes.
Cool.
Okay. Hildemir, please introduce yourself briefly and take us through what's going on in Caracas right now with you.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Professor Pramod, for the opportunity to be here. I'm Hildemir Chasin. I'm living here in Caracas, Venezuela, and we want to present this project. I work with Adam in the Center for Structure and Society. Thank you, Adam. I have a little problem of connection in internet, and apologize for that.
So,
okay?
Hildemir, since we're just short on time,
the context.
Since we're just short on time, we can let the folks read the context.
Yeah.
And then we'll skip ahead.
Perfect.
You can share some ideas about the design, maybe for a minute, and then we'll wrap it up with the results.
Perfect. The context. Perfect. Okay, this is the project. This is the urban farms. The urban farms is a system. The system that has areas of the production, that's areas distribution and commercialization of products, agricultural products. No, this idea is designed by Jorge Cacique. Jorge Cacique is an urban designer. He lives here in Venezuela, and we work together. This idea is for his doctoral thesis. The urban farm use the local resource and use clean energy that like wind, like water. There is a system that can get the water rain, and this water can use for the crops. We did a study here in Caracas in a sector named La Vega, Los Paraparos de La Vega. That is the result. We designed a survey for the people in Los Paraparos, and this is the result. 39% expressed their interest in participating in urban agriculture. No, we can see the motivation and the interest from the people of this sector. The areas of interest: sowing, distribution and sale, and management. This number is important too. 96.8% have formal study. No, some of them in areas that are compatible with the activities of the urban farms. No, they have, the majority of them have crops in their homes, and there is an individual initiative to have crops. No, we think that this idea to develop the urban farms is very important. No, it's very important to apply a regenerative approach in this activity. No, we have this challenge: evaluate the possibility of obtain funds and investment for the develop the urban farms, and design and apply educational programs associated with these areas of knowledge. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Professor Bramot.
Thank you, Adam and Hildemir. I just wanted to add that the housing design, shelter design, and what we call the interior, all the cement, all the infrastructure, built environment, we will have a very active element with your group, with your expertise, and the bamboo man. Remember the bamboo man from Abari, who presented on March 22, and Anil Bhattarai, who will be very much part of the Annapurna. He's also into the earth architecture. So this housing is going to be very, very important. So Jim and Richard, I don't know about our time. Could we invite Sagarika and Meg? Do we have a time? And Christian is also still at large. So please, let's do a decision. And if timing is a little critical, we can post those things, and we can share in many ways.
Well, I want to make sure we have time for every voice, Pramod, but okay. I have a conflict in about 6 minutes that I need to jump off to, but maybe Rick, you could just close us out, and we can just let people talk, because I want to honor, Pramod, the work that you've done and the people who've come onto the program. So why don't we conclude as you've planned it. Rick, if you can stay on for, what is the next 10 or 15 minutes?
Yes, yes.
No problem, Jim. I'll be here. I'll host it. Not a problem.
Okay. I actually have an oral exam for one of our doctoral students.
Thank you so much.
That I need to go to. But before I jump, before the others come on, Pramod, I just want to thank you very deeply for the depth of your commitment to a new way of understanding humanity's relationship to the larger ecosystem. I just want to salute all the diversity that you've brought in. And Adam, I would love to have you on Humanity Rising with your own session. It'd be really good to get something on Venezuela, because Venezuela has been such a sore spot for so many different layered reasons, and have you and Hildemir just brief us on what's been going on in Venezuela, from Chavez sort of onwards. I would definitely welcome that, and I'll be in touch with you separately on that. And then finally, I just want to say, who was it? Who was it that asked me to do the, Nancy? Nancy, I don't know what led you to ask me to do the Om chants, but as it turned out, I've been Oming as part of my practice for many, many decades. I love the Om chant. I was born in West China. I had my first religious experience, my first spiritual experience, even though I was the son of a missionary in a Buddhist temple. And I synchronistically received my mantra when I was 7 years old. And I've been using that mantra ever since. So the Om and the Om Mani Padme Hum has been an integral part of my spiritual life. So I don't know what led you to call on me, but your intuition was correct. So thank you, everybody. I'll jump off a little early for this doctoral dissertation, but I just want to acknowledge the exuberance and the mastery with which each and every one of you have presented your deep, deep caring for our mother.
Thank you for this extra time. I hope we deserve it.
Okay. All right. Be well.
Sagarika, could you, Richard, do you have that Riverman video ready?
Yes, I do. Is that what you want next?
Yeah, let's start with that. Then Sagarika will, after the video, I will talk about Megji, but video will be better.
Okay.
For Megale, the rivers are everything. As one of the most recognized names in the river conservation in the country, he has spent a large part of his life advocating for and protecting them.
If we could bring a positive impact in the society, that's a success. Whether it's in business, whether in social context, so if we could bring that positive impact in society. नमस्ते, मेरो नाम मेघाले, मेरो घर सेङ्जा वालिङ आधी खोलाको किनार, अनि म जन्मिएको त्यही वालिङमा आधी खोलाको तिरमा, र मेरो सानो स्कुलिङ यानी कक्षा 3 सम्म म गाउँकै स्कुलमा पढेँ।
Ali's love for rivers started young. As a young boy in Waling Tsiangcha, he would skip school and go to the Andi Khola. He would play, swim, and go fishing with the local fishermen.
स्कुलमा जानुभन्दा धेरै चाहिँ म आधी खोलामा जान्थेँ। माझी साथीभाइहरूको सङ्गत थियो र म क्लासमा जान खोज्थिनँ। पहिला चाहिँ त क्लासमा जाने बित्तिकै मैले जहिले पनि पिटाइ खान्थेँ लेख्दाखेरि, किनभने मेरो देब्रे हात चल्थ्यो, बायाँ हातले लेख्दाखेरि सरले रुचाउनु हुन्थेन र मलाई बेसरी पिट्नुहुन्थ्यो, लात्तीले पनि हिर्काउनुहुन्थ्यो, सिस्नो लगाउनुहुन्थ्यो। अनि जबरजस्ती मलाई चाहिँ दाहिने हातले लेखाइन्थ्यो अनि त्यो अभोइड गर्नलाई म चाहिँ खोलामै बरु माझी साथीहरूसँग खेल्थेँ नदी किनारमा माछा मार्न जान्थेँ त्यो बाबुआमाले थाहा पाउनु भइसकेपछि मलाई चाहिँ देहरादुन लग्यो देहरादुनको थमान होस्टल भन्ने एउटा आर्मीको हस्टेलमा चाहिँ म त्यहाँ बसेर पढ्न थालेँ र त्यहाँ स्कुलिङ त्यहाँ भयो भनेदेखि अनि इन्टरमिडिएट पनि मैले इन्डियामै गरेँ
While attending college, Ali made friends with people who worked as river guides. He loved the rivers and their profession interested him so much that after graduating college in 1985, he became an assistant river guide.
काठमाडौँमा ब्याचलर्स लेभल पढ्नको लागि चाहिँ नि म शङ्करदेव क्याम्पस जोइन गरेँ र त्यही सिलसिलामा पढाइकै सिलसिलामा कोही साथीहरू रिभर गाइड थिए कस्तो हुँदो रहेछ के रहेछ भनेर चाहिँ एक दुईचोटि उहाँहरूसँग खोलामा गएँ अनि आई थट अफ दिस इज द जब फर मी अनि मेरो कलेज सिद्धेपछि रिभर गाइड नै हुने अठोट गरेँ र आई जोइन्ड एज अ ट्रेनी रिभर गाइड 1985 मा While I was river guiding, training हुँदाखेरि नदी नै it became kind of my passion.
After 6 years of working as a river guide, Ali in 1991 went to Austria and Switzerland to work as a licensed river guide.
मलाई के रियलाइज गरेँ भनेदेखि यहाँ यो देश विदेशको नदी भन्दा चाहिँ नेपालको नदी यति सुन्दर छ कि यसलाई संरक्षण गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने हिसाब किताब एउटा अनि अर्को चाहिँ नि यो नदी संरक्षण गर्न पनि अब एउटा बिजनेस मोडल पनि गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने सोचले यो अल्टिमेट डिसेन्स नेपाल भनेर राफ्टिङ कम्पनी 1991 मा मैले सुरु गरेँ
While working, Ali saw how deforestation, rampant damming and pollution were threatening rivers. In 1995, along with like-minded friends, he started the Nepal River Conservation Trust.
घरमा बिदा जाँदाखेरि म गाउँ जान्थेँ र अब गाउँका बुढा माझी बाहरू चाहिँ जाल लिएर माछा मार्न हिँड्थे अनि पहिलाको सम्झनामा कस्तो छ के छ माछा कतिको पाइन्छ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ एकजना माझी काकाले बुढै हुनुहुन्थ्यो अनि जाल लिएर बाटोमा हिँड्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो कतिको माछा पाएछ त आजभोलि भन्दाखेरि त्यो काकाले के भन्नुभयो भने आजभोलि त माछा नै पाइँदैन यो अब आफ्नो पेसा आफ्नो लागेको बानी एक दुईचोटि खोलामा नझरी चाहिँ त मनले सुखै दिँदैन भरेर झर्ने मात्रै हो तर माछा चाहिँ त पाउनु छाड्यो बाबु भन्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो र किन भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब के थाहा भने यो गल्याङमा जुन चाहिँ आधी खोलाको ड्याम बनाइयो त्यसपछि चाहिँ त माछा आउन छाडेछ काली गण्डकीबाट त्यस कारणले चाहिँ माछाको सिचुएसन फेरि अरू विभिन्न सिचुएसनलाई रिभर गाइडिङ गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो जुन चाहिँ फ्लड डिफोरेस्टेसन त्यसै ड्यामको सिचुएसनहरू अगाडि आउँदै गरेको त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ नेपालको नदीहरू संरक्षित हुनुपर्छ नेपालको नदीहरूमा चाहिँ नदी संरक्षणको कामहरू हुनुपर्छ भन्ने यो सोच अगाडि आयो र केही साथीहरूसँग मिलेर नेपाल नदी संरक्षण संस्था अथवा नेपाल रिभर कन्जर्भेसन ट्रस्ट हामीले सुरु गऱ्यौँ त्यो चाहिँ 1995 मा हामी चाहिँ विकास विरोधी नभएर नदीलाई चाहिँ कसरी संरक्षण गर्ने विकास पनि होस् संरक्षण पनि होस् सो रिभरलाई कसरी म्यानेज गर्ने कसरी यसलाई डेभलपमेन्ट गर्ने त्यो सोच एउटा चाहिँ दीर्घकालीन सोच आउनुपर्छ र यसको भिजन क्लियर हुनुपर्छ भन्ने सोच आउनुपर्छ चाहिँ हाम्रो मान्यता हो
Ali believes that Nepal, which depends largely on rivers to generate electricity, should look at the developed countries that are diversifying their source of electricity.
We are not against the development, we are not against those so एकदमै ड्याम विरोधी पनि हैन डेभलपमेन्ट विरोधी पनि हैन तर वाइज थट हुनु पर्यो किनभनेदेखि अब पहिला कुरा चाहिँ त एनर्जीको अल्टरनेटिभहरु धेरै कुराहरु आइसके त्यो पनि एक्सप्लोर गर्न बाँकी नै छ खाली एकोरै नदी बेच्ने धनी हुने त्यो सोचमा त्यो माइन्डसेट चेन्ज हुनु पर्यो पृथ्वीको रक्त नली भनेको त नदी हो हरेक नदीलाई हामीले काट्दै गयौं भने हैन पृथ्वी त बाँच्न सक्दैन हाम्रो शरीर नबाँचे जस्तै त्यसकारणले there has to be a wise thought
Apart from river conservation projects, Ale is involved with plenty of other ventures, some of which he initiated.
कति मान्छेले भन्छन्, why don't you stick to one thing, then do it well. Sometimes I don't believe in it. Only if I have bag of different seeds, so which has got a potential to grow, only I throw it on the ground. If it's a good seed, one day the rain will come. Our next generation they will start irrigating, taking, caring, and making grow. So like I got many projects like Tour de Lumbini, Peril for Peace. We have annual river festival. We have Bagmati River Festival. We have community eco-loss trek which we pioneered as well. The community mountain community mobilize garne.
Ale has now been actively involved in river conservation work and various other social projects for more than 3 decades. And success, he says, should not be measured by material gains. For me, Khale, it has always been about the rivers. He has found his wealth in taking care of them and their beauty. His story has inspired a lot of us, hasn't it? Well, I'm inspired. I think rivers are beautiful. Well, to know more about the founder of the Nepal River Conservation Trust, make sure you get your hands on the new upgraded version of the MNS supplement, that is the MNS VMAG. We have a huge array of contents to offer to you, so do not miss out.
Yes, so Megzi is busy protecting rivers and cleaning rivers, as you can see, and you also heard some Nepali language from his own mouth. He is a very well-respected environmental leader, thought leader, and mobilizer, activist, educator in Nepal. We are very proud to work with him in the Annapurna Pluriversities. He and I come from the similar Annapurna Kaligandaki watershed. And we have been talking at least for a year now, and that including his municipality, we will begin to introduce these five-fold programs. So Sagarika, could you share your slides, a presentation, very short and
Hi, namaste everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Pramod sir for providing this opportunity and space among such a wonderful people. It's quite late here and I'd like to go very quick. I'm Sagarika Bhatta and I'm from Nepal. I postgraduated in environment science. Currently, I'm running an NGO called PowerShift Nepal, which looks to empower young females and women of communities in environmental issues and climate justice particularly. We run different programs based on gender and environment, sustainable cities, mountain conservation, development, environment and sustainability, sustainable agriculture, women empowerment, which are skill-based. We also have different campaigns which looks to aware communities and young people of Nepal. I also run a company which named Environmental Research Services and Training Center, which looks to give sustainable products and services. Currently, I'm providing some products as bags and also giving service of urban rooftop farming in Nepal. So while during my journey, I've traveled to different mountain areas. Particularly, I'm talking about the 3 mountain areas today. I've also traveled to the Annapurna areas, different trails of Annapurna, but these 3 of the areas are particularly not only about travel, but also about travel while traveling and learning together. So first travel is from mountains to hills and to Tarai. It was particularly the Dolpa region of Nepal, say Sundo National Park, which is in western side of the Nepal. I went through from mountain region to hilly region and then to Tarai for a month. for a study on indigenous traditional knowledge practices among the indigenous communities residing in these 3 geographical regions, which I look to find out and document how they have been coping in the impacts of climate change from those indigenous knowledge. And I also traveled to the Khaptar National Park of Nepal, which was solo in 2005. Traveling, I also observed lot of environmental activities that the conservation areas has been doing in the area. Lastly, this was the last travel which I did in 2019. It was more about, I actually did it for a research which was based on ecotourism of the Langtang National Park, the challenges and opportunities that the ecotourism has brought about in the Langtang National Park. But together, we also went there for climate strike to raise awareness among the people about how our mountains needs to be preserved and conserved, how glaciers are melting, and the communities of mountain and the downstreams are facing a lot of consequences, vulnerabilities. So this was the time in 2019 before the COVID-19. In coming days, I look to explore more of the context that I currently explained, and also from the course that the regenerative leadership, I also look to explore some of the parts of the Nepal where, like Mustang area, where the villages have been facing drought. I look to explore and study more on how those community can adapt to the scarcity of water, regenerate, recharge water in their area. That's what I'm looking forward from the course from regenerative leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Sagarika. So you are now formally invited to be part of Annapurna Pluriversities. We want to celebrate your youth leadership, very grounded on body and nature and culture. Thank you so much. So Kristen, are you, we still have time for you, 5 minutes. Earth democracy and soil to sustenance journey. Asir.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pramod. I will be very brief. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for welcoming us here today. This is just an amazing event and series of so many events. It's really inspiring. And I'm just so honored to be a part of that. As Pramod said, I'm Dr. Kristen Spronia. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I am presenting to you today from Northern California, the Bay Area. I live, teach, and work on unceded Ohlone land. And I'm just so happy to be with you all today. I'm going to be very brief and share with you just a little bit about my work and research on developing a soil to sustenance framework. Let me pull up my screen share here. Is that coming through okay? Great. So
can you go full screen on your slides?
Oh,
please?
yes. Present. Here we go. Okay, so a soil to sustenance framework. We're looking at biocultural approaches to diversifying food crops in Northern California. And here we are in Northern California. This is the floristic province. It's one of the world's biodiversity hotspots, which means it has more diversity of plants, animals, and microbial species than anywhere else in the world, all of these biodiversity hotspots. And here in Northern California, it's really the geography that has created such a rich abundance of both foods and also people. With a biocultural lens, we know that the same regions that promote such a diversity of food often, at least back in the day when more indigenous people were around, also supported so many different tribes. And we had a wealth of tribal nations here in Northern California.
Kristen, you're not in full screen, and if you're moving slides, they're not moving.
Shoot. Okay, hang on.
I have a backup if you need it. There you go, full screen.
Okay, great. So I began looking at food crops and food introductions and crop introductions as a strategy for resilience and regeneration. We need new crops in California for a variety of reasons. California is heating up due to climate change and due to the desertification of our Central Valley, where much of our food is grown. California supplies over half of the produce consumed in the entire country. And you can see there in that middle region where it's irrigated is where most of the food is grown there in the Central Valley. But as the climate heats up, Northern California is being looked to for more agricultural production. And we need to ensure that we're not just growing our 4 mega crops, which especially in our climate here in Northern California is extremely water intensive. And we are experiencing drought and fire seasons like we've never seen before. You can see in that second image the predictions for California heating up, and that also shows our decreasing water supplies that have been over irrigated in the central. Here's my little assistant here today with me. And you'll see in some of these images that I've taken, the farmers are really suffering. You can see the dry parched land, and in the lower picture, you can see a lake completely dried up. And not just in California, but all over the world, we're experiencing a huge decrease in agrobiodiversity. Only 3% of our current plants are being used. 75% of the food supply is made up of just 12 species, and more than half of the supply comes from those crops. I'm going to skip over this just because we're so short on time. So what I did is develop a soil to sustenance biocultural framework for introducing food crops. What I found out in my research is that typically when farmers or even governments incentivize for introducing new crops, they're really only looking at yield. And perhaps we're not so surprised by that in a capitalist economy, but really the whole focus is on yield, both in massive plants and of course, economic yield. So what I'm asking is that we take a step back and look at our food system in more of a holistic continuum, all the way from soil to sustenance, from how rich and life-giving that soil is to how integrated that those foods come on the human cultural scale, both in terms of nutrition, nutrient density, but also cultural appropriateness. Now, we've heard a lot in recent time, if you're involved in this movement or in food justice, about culturally appropriate foods. But I really think we need to shift to bioculturally appropriate foods, not just appropriate for people, but appropriate for the land and all the life-giving systems, water, the ability to draw down carbon, to replenish the soil, and to think about the multi-species that are involved here, not just humans, but how do these plants interact with animal species and microbial species and all the species of the world. And what I found is that if we use an approach beyond yield, beyond just thinking about yield, we can come to see that plants that are life-giving with things like soil and water and carbon are also life-giving for us humans. And that we need to be looking across the globe for foods to introduce, not just to foods that have been grown here in the past. We also find that when we look beyond yield for those bioculturally relevant foods, we find that many of those foods are also conducive to adaptive and traditional agricultural practices. So we see there are some farmers newly experimenting with dry farming and other techniques like that that are really critical right now in California, but globally. I really think that Northern California can be a pioneer in this way and really regenerative with the agricultural approaches if we look beyond yield and take a soil to sustenance framework. And we can ensure that California becomes this rich breadbasket that it's been known to be, and that we don't dry up and completely use up all of our water growing unsustainable crops. So that is the gist of it. I could go on, but that'll do it for today. Thank you so much, and very much appreciate your attention and being included here today.
Hey, Professor Kristen. Very good. Very well done. So yes, Northern California will be one of the bioregions in North America, including the Great Lakes, looks like the Smoky Mountain area, Rio Arriba, and maybe Mary has Sierras, we will see who else. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Anil Bhattarai, who is taking care of the website management of this. So he will just say hello and some plan, very short, how he wants to make it interactive and plurimedia rather than just text. Dr. Anil Bhattarai, are you there?
Mute myself. Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Start a video. Okay. I have my quote somewhere. Let me find my quote. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Anil. I live in Toronto, and I'm trying to share my Annapurna website that I'm developing as a tool for our work. It's in a very preliminary stage, but I want to know, like, do you see the website?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so I will just I'll be very quick and go over this. It's a very simple website to look at, but it requires a lot of work. And one of the way to appreciate that is to see this admin panel where I add people, programs, events, categories, blogs, everything. This is where I manage the website, and it's a lot of work. So this is the one. This is the front facing. This is what we will be using. For now, it's a admin staff controlled website. For everyone else, the role is only to have a look and read and not even comment. I have not even shared the email address. We don't have one yet. So what I am thinking of doing is going over this in a very quick way. So we have the logo on top and buttons for people and programs. And that will take us to, the list of people will be adding over time with the backend. I showed here's the people. So when we add details of people here, add person, then we will have all the details on the front. So we'll be doing that in the people part. I have designed it such that I have different roles, people who are founders, directors, partners. But I would, at the end, I want to get a suggestion. I will post on the chat too, what kind of characteristics of people you want to see on the site so that I can add those in the models. I have another page called programs where we will be providing all the details of those 5 major areas that Pramod covered in his presentation, and also within them, if there are some sub programs, we'll be adding them. And again, with the admin panel, we have a program here So we'll just, whenever we know like what programs we are launching, we'll just add here, and then that will show on the website. So for now, the website is basically a information repository, just to add and share. And we have blogs in the website. If you look at the right side, the right sidebar, you will see the events. We'll be listing all the upcoming events. For events also, we'll go back to the admin, add events, and we'll have all the details about title and organizers and venue and description, program and event date. And all those will show up on the front page. Actually, all the pages, wherever you go, the events will be listed there so that people know that's what's coming in the future. And below the event, we have blog topics. So if you click like sustainability, you will be taken to the page where all the blogs, writings about sustainability is listed here. From here, you can go to the read full. It's a very obvious here. This link takes you to the full page. I haven't, as I said in the website, this is under construction, so content is only for testing. But what I've designed is like, you go there, you read full, and all the full detail of the blog will be there. And I have also listed the latest blog on all the pages, like whenever you go to home or people or programs or food systems, the right bar panel will be throughout the whole site so that you have information on the like click away from the click of a button. And yeah, for the website, that's it for now. I have a few ideas about what we might be.
Dr. Anil, I think we want to close the session now. Okay. I just want to mention that Anil ji also has a team on the website. Dr. Michael April and Mary Jackson, they have played central role, and now Anil is putting it all together. But the three of them will be the kind of website directors. So I also wanted to say that it's an evolving website. Richard and Anil, if the three of us could work on, if we could transfer all of this presentation from March 22nd and today on each individual person. You see, so let's say Kristen, then her 5-minute presentation posted in our website. If that is possible, Richard, please work with me and Anil. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. And thank you, Richard and Jim, for giving us extra time. It's such a global gathering, EarthDay celebration, and that we are just super excited to present our work. And actually, it happens that the formal beginning of Annapurna Pluriversity as a founder, I would say that is today. So from today on, we are going public. We are a public entity. And Christian, you and I need to work on registering in California, okay? So, but the public-wise, information-wise, sharing-wise, this is our first day of formally presenting Annapurna Pluriversities, regenerating life systems, livelihoods, learning and leadership as our contribution to the Mother Earth, to Gaia, to Biosphere, all the people, all the culture, all the species. Thank you so much. And Richard, you might want to say something or close the session.
No, it's been an incredible session, and maybe we can do another one because there's so much great material, especially Kristen's last part. I would have loved to have learned a lot more about that. And I think we would love to all have a little conversation about where you're going in the future. It's what's happening right now is really encouraging momentum, especially in celebrating Earth Day. So thank you everyone for such an incredibly generous and informative session. It's one of our better sessions. Thank you very much, and I look forward to another one, Purna.
Thank you, Richard, for your amazing attention. Thank you.
Okay, well, we're going to have another session tomorrow on Earth Day that's going to be exciting. So I encourage everybody to join us, and thank you again. I'm going to end this session. Take care.